Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. All right, question. Does your teenager ever seem like a flip is switched? Maybe like their mood changes dramatically, or like you think to yourself, they are out of their minds?
That's how it can feel to them too, and a lot of times it's their hormones.
Yes, it is. So Dr. Karen Ryan, a licensed psychologist with Nystrom Associates, she's here to tell us more about why sometimes as parents, we look at our teenage kids and we're like, I don't understand what's going on with you. And you're saying sometimes they really can't help it. It's what's happening inside. It's chemical, it's hormonal, right?
Yeah, I think it's so helpful to understand the hormones behind it. Because when we hit puberty, which for girls it's 10 to 14, for boys is 12 to 16 on average, right? There's this huge shift in hormones. So our brains tell our gonadotropin releasing hormones to like go for it, right? So that sets off this whole kind of sequence of events for our bodies to produce estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, and those are really huge changes. They're necessary for our reproductive development, our growth, all of that, but it can be really hard to navigate and can really lead to some intense experiences. So testosterone can double for boys, individuals assigned as boys at birth, and so we just see these levels just kind of skyrocket during puberty.
Yeah, well, it's wild to think about that it can affect them so much emotionally and so much of their mood.
Yeah.
What is happening? Like, what are they feeling? Like when they were, their body's going through all these changes, stuff is happening. Are they even aware that this is happening to them?
Yeah, when you think about it in the moment, it's really flooded. So there's an emotional dysregulation that can happen. And so sometimes it happens so fast that they don't even realize it's happening, and it feels like off-putting for them too. They're even like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And a big part of that is because not only in puberty are we dealing with their hormones, our brains haven't fully developed. So our prefrontal cortex, like the front of our brains, is not fully developed. Our brains develop from the back to the front. So this prefrontal cortex doesn't develop until we're in our early 20s fully. And so what we see is this prefrontal cortex is involved in decision making, impulse control, emotional learning, all the things that we need to handle intense hormone shifts, right? Exactly. And so when we think about it, they've got this double whammy of these hormone fluctuations and then not having the skills to fully navigate them. And so it can feel overwhelming to them at times as well.
I have two teenagers, a 16-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter, and I feel like there are some guidelines, as you just said, when puberty hits, or and Ben was talking about, okay, a girl is this and a boy is that, but really everything is different for every child, and
you're exactly right.
Think that this should apply to you. Why is this not how it's working for you? But really, I think you have to look at them probably as individuals and not as like a case study.
I think that's so important to recognize, and that there can be a difference among your own children. And so it really highlights that biological piece that's happening, the social factors, because when you think about adolescence, we've got the brain hormones, we've got the brain, but we've also got social pressures, right? We've also got we're now developing romantic interests and sexual interests. We're at the stage where we're trying to figure out who we are and our identity. We're starting to develop some autonomy and independence. So that's a lot to navigate.
Yeah.
And then you've got this teenager with adult level hormones and not all the skills to navigate it. So it really is different for each teen.
Yeah. So before we get into maybe how a parent can recognize and maybe go through this with them and help them along the way, what can you tell the actual kid? What can you tell them to help have some awareness and kind of work through some things on their own? Yeah,
I think for kids it can be really scary, and they won't admit it when they feel out of control, or they feel like there's something wrong with them. And so if you can really normalize how those floods can just happen, normalize that and be like, I'm with you, we're gonna figure this out, I've got you. Let's just take this one step at a time, and really being patient, and the whole kind of idea of communicating, I'm not scared of these emotions, you don't have to be either, we're gonna figure it out, can be really helpful. And so it's really normalizing that. And so it's using that you don't want to get on a pedestal and sit down and talk with them about hormones, because you're just going to get an eye roll most likely. But if you're that's normal. What you're going through is normal.
Just kind of be almost nonchalant. This is fine. This is what teenagers do. This is what you're going through. It's totally fine.
And along those same lines, I feel like there's a little bit of a tricky navigation of how much to push, how much to pry into what's on your phone, how are your grades, and how much to let you have your independence and figure it out on your own.
So some of the basics that I think are important for parents to be involved in, or grandparents or guardians, is make sure your teen is getting enough sleep. Like that is huge. Make sure your teen is getting adequate like nutrition, that they're drinking enough water, and then be thoughtful about their stress level, right? How many stressors do they have? How many commitments do they have? So those are ways where you can kind of help just explore and guide them with that, because that's where sometimes they need that help of like, I'm going to take your phone. Your phones are out of your bedroom at night because you need to get a good night's sleep. So it's that balance of autonomy versus helping them have that structure and make those decisions.
Yeah, you know, I think one of the things I'm struggling with sometimes with, I have a 16-year-old and now a 13-year-old is, you know, when the 13-year-old, he's having a moment and it's like, you know, he's either embarrassed by me or lashing out at me or whatever. Sometimes I feel like I need to punish that behavior, but also know that I got to recognize that he can't really help it either, you know? So like, what's the best way to sort of like, how do I take a chill pill when he's giving me sass and attitude?
I so appreciate you saying that, because I have the same reaction, right? I'm a therapist and I have the same reaction. I can't let him get away with this, or what's we got to pull this together. They've got to learn these skills, or what's going on? And then it's taking that pause and being like, wait a minute, they're okay. I'm okay. I'm going to give them time and space just to process this. I'm going to be calm, because if you're calm and collected, I promise, like, if we don't try to change it, they work through it faster, they ride it out. It's when we try to convince them not to feel that way, or for me, I want to go to logic. I want to go to like the cognitive, like, that's not accurate. But it doesn't really matter what they're saying, because teens are going to exaggerate things. They're going to like be grandiose.
Oh yeah.
But just listen to the emotion behind it and recognize like there's probably 5 factors at play for this one thing that they're upset about.
Okay,
take a breath.
I know, like a lot of things,
ease
Dr. Ryan.
out.
It's like it's probably
You're
more
not
on
alone.
us than
You're
it
not
is on
alone.
them.
You're not alone.
You're always so helpful.
Oh,
Thanks
my
so much.
pleasure.
All right, you guys, so Nystrom Associates, they provide the care in the fields of family therapy, psychiatry, psychology, and much, much more. So if you're struggling with stress, anxiety, depression, or addiction, please reach out to them today.
More Twin Cities Live after this.